In this video, we're going to talk about what she says isn't what she really means. And so guys will say, well, women are hard to understand and they speak in coded messages and they expect us to read their minds, and none of this is true. What happens is there's a couple things at play. One is she's lying because she doesn't really want to tell you the truth, or two, she's afraid to tell you the truth because she's trying to manage your emotional state. And so if you are a safe dude that she can really rely on, she's just going to speak plainly. She's just going to speak however she is. But most guys never get to a situation with their wife where she can do that, where she can just speak plainly. Because one, she's afraid to tell the truth because she's doing some shit she shouldn't be doing. Or two, she doesn't know how to express herself, or she's afraid to express herself and what she's truly feeling because of how you're going to react to it. And there is also the third one, which is society expects women to be a certain way. Society expects women to be kind, to be loving, to not be superficial, to insert the blank of whatever society thinks women should be. And so they'll follow that narrative because they don't want to come off and look like they're not perfect. And so women are generally trying to make themselves look perfect all the time. Guys are doing the same shit. And so in this video, we're going to decode some of this stuff so that you can see these warning signs. Whenever she says one thing, you can say, okay, she says that, but trust me, there's some other shit behind this. And so you should probably dig in there and reveal whatever's going on within her. My name is Baxter, and I help guys in betrayal situations. I've coached thousands of men, tens of thousands of men who've come through my doors in one form or another. I've had over 3,000 guys come through the Betrayed to Badass program. And that's what we do. We'll get you to that place where you make the right decision for you and your children. Now, one caveat to this. You are not your wife's psychologist. No, you are not in the position to save her. It's not your job to make your wife happy. It's not your job to save a woman. It is not your job to dig into her psychology and to be better at her psychology than she can for herself. In fact, that is squarely in her position. She should save herself. She should take care of herself. And if she has self-respect, she would be revealing and telling the truth to the people in her life. Now, not all women are like this. Men are often left to pick up the pieces of this and to try to dig to finally get to the truth of their woman, while she tries to fight and not let him know what it is. Now, when this situation happens, you don't have to put up with it. You should look at your woman as a grown-ass woman who can take responsibility for her life and should take responsibility for her life and who should be accountable for herself. If she cannot be accountable, if she does not take responsibility for things, that is not your fault. There's not anything that you're supposed to do to make her change. In fact, if you loved her the way she is, you wouldn't try to get her to change. Now, with that being said, just because she is the way she is doesn't mean she's a good fit for you. It doesn't mean that she can have a good, healthy adult relationship. If your wife is lying all the time, cheating on you, if she's manipulating you, she might not be relationship material. Now, she'll probably try to have a lot of relationships, but that doesn't mean she's good at them, or nor should she have them, or she's even mature enough to do it. Most of the women in marriages and most of the men in marriages are not much more mature than a 13-year-old. They just don't know how to actually have emotional resiliency, how to actually shift their emotional state, or even how to express or communicate like a clear adult. And so with this being said, I'm just telling you this here because I'm going to show you what's going on with your woman. But at the same time, I want you to also be aware that it's not your job to dig into her. It's not your job to force her to open up. And the thing is that most guys are taught that they have to do more, be everything to her, save her from herself, try to dig into her psychology, and guys get overwhelmed trying to figure out what's going on with their woman, when what's happening is she keeps throwing these smoke screens at him and then blaming him for her unhappiness. That's not the game. That's not a healthy relationship. So I'm going to show you what's going on and what's happening in the dynamics so that you can get ahead of it and you can dig on it if you want, because not everybody's perfect. And sometimes people are afraid to reveal things. And so you have to see what it is so that you know when to dig in when it's appropriate. If I'm dating a woman, if she's just a girl that I'm dating, I'm not going to dig into her at all. She hasn't earned the right for me to dig into her because she hasn't proven that she gets all the gifts that I'm bringing to the table. If she wants to get this kind of work with me, if she wants to be this woman who has a special place in my heart where I would actually take the time and dig in and try to help her out and do this stuff, she has to be my wife. I'm not going to take this level of conscious understanding and diving into her in somebody who hasn't proven that they're like really worthy of this. And can they honor the gifts that I give them? So in other words, if I go and dig into a woman and she's like manipulating and being toxic and throwing shit at me so I don't find out what's happening, she doesn't see what I'm trying to do. And so I'm not in a position that I'm even going to try to explain myself. She just does not see or honor those gifts, so I just won't present them to her. And I'll just move on to the next woman who could actually see what I am and what I can do and what I can offer. I'm not here to convince a woman to like me. I'm not here to convince a woman to see me or to hear me or to understand me. I'm here to present my truth and to be the most ethical and honorable and humble man as I can while unapologetically expressing my wild side. And so if she can honor that and she's willing to dig into it, she's willing to communicate with me, then yeah, we'll play. We'll play and we'll have a great fucking time. So let's get into the video. There's no more point in me prefacing it. The biggest lie is, I'm fine. You can tell when the woman says, well, I'm fine. Really what she's saying is, I don't want to tell you what's really wrong because I'm angry right now and you probably couldn't handle it anyway, and I'd rather stew in my misery and act like a martyr and a victim. And so what ends up happening is she's creating this trap for you where she wants you to dig in because she's upset at you, but she doesn't want to have the conflict either. And so a lot of women are super conflict averse, so they'd rather play this passive aggressive game. We're like, I'm just fine, leave me alone. And it's like, no, you're not fucking fine. You might as well just talk about what's on your mind. And so guys are afraid to say that. You could say it just like that. Like, no, you're not. You're not fine at all. Why don't you explain what's going on with you? This is a place you can talk to me. You don't need to hide and pretend and all this other stuff. Tell me what's going on. And so guys don't want to go in there because they don't want to hear what's really going to happen. Or she'll say, oh, it's fine, just leave me alone. So then she'll escalate it. And she'll escalate it and escalate it. And the guy will be like, well, she's just getting angry. I will come back later. Which you can do. But at the same time, you have to be willing to tussle with your woman. You cannot be afraid of her emotional state. If you're afraid of her emotional state, you're afraid of what she's going to throw at you, and she slaughters you by manipulating you or calling you names or deflecting blame and all this other kind of bullshit, then you're just never going to be able to get in there and dig into it. And she's not going to ever trust that you can handle all of her emotional state. And for most guys, they're like, I shouldn't have to deal with it. No, you shouldn't have to deal with it. But at the same time, if you're in a relationship with a woman, there are going to be times where it's going to get spicy. And if you can't handle that spiciness, you'll never get to the sweet part on the inside. I tell guys, if you want to have an amazing relationship, you have to be willing to walk through hell to build it. Now, with that being said, heaven is always worth walking through hell. And so if she's saying, I'm fine, you have a couple of things. You could just dive into it. Hey, what's going on? I know you're not just fine. You go ahead and tell me what's happening. And dive into it in a calm but firm manner. Don't come in there and go, baby, what's wrong? Oh, it sounds like you're upset. What's wrong? See, this is apologetic. This is a place for not of certainty, but of fear. Most guys, he's like, oh shit, she's mad at me. What did I do wrong? And he puts himself in this place where he's the little boy and mommy's angry at him. And so of course she's not going to open up to that guy. He has no self-respect at all. He's weak as hell. She's not attracted to that guy. She doesn't respect him. She doesn't admire him. She's not going to open up to him. He can go fuck himself. And all that does is piss her off even more. And so then she'll just double down on this anger, and then she'll become a martyr, and you won't be able to open her up. And so if you don't have this type of internal personal power, she's just never going to open up to you, which is very passive. And really, you need to get to this place where it's not your job to be a mind reader. But what she's doing is she wants attention, and she wants you to ask why. She wants you to open her up because she's angry. She wants to feel that she's seen and heard and that she's important to you, but from a place of your strength. Like, I'm upset, but I want you to figure out why. Or she'll be like, I don't feel heard, so she shuts down. So what she'll end up doing if she feels like she's being criticized or you're angry at her or something, she'll just shut down. She'll say, I'm fine, and she just won't want to talk at all. She'll just completely shut down and close off to you. And so the game is always, how do we gracefully open her back up? And so if you come from this place of kindness, but with power, then she will feel safe enough to open up. In fact, you do this enough times, she won't say this term, I'm fine anymore. She'll just tell you what's going on. Or she'll be saying to herself, you should care enough to notice something is wrong. And so usually a woman will say this if she feels neglected by her husband. And so usually in a relationship, there's power and connection. You'll hear me say this all the time in a video. The guy will have a lot of power, but he doesn't have connection. So this is the guy who has been absent in the relationship, and he's not really there a lot. A lot of business owners will do this. He's gone at work, and so she'll get upset instead of digging in and figuring out what's going on with this woman to demonstrate that he actually cares about her by digging into her psychology and digging into her. What he'll end up doing is like, fuck it, I don't need to deal with this bitch, and then he'll just go off for his work. And hoping that it'll blow over, he'll come back later. Problem is that it just gets worse. And now that turns into resentment, which will eventually turn into contempt. And then when she starts having you in contempt, she'll start villainizing you in her mind. And you cannot beat out her imagination when it comes to villainy. And so if you allow this to continue, she will hold you in contempt, start to villainize you, and then you'll start getting all the snipey remarks, all the bitching, all the nagging, all these things where she starts to try to emasculate you. Because what she's doing is she's picking at you, hoping that you will actually start trying to dig in, hoping that you'll finally get it and start trying to pick the fight back so that you can get to the root of these issues. And she just does it because she's angry and frustrated with you all the time. And so you can get ahead of this by not allowing this to begin with. The second one is, I need space. Now, I need space happens for two reasons. One, she's just feeling overwhelmed. If you have kids and everything else, she's just all the kids and all the crazy, just driving her emotions up, and she's just getting completely overwhelmed. She just literally needs space from all the crazy. The problem is that most guys have these mommy issues, and they're very nice guys, and they're trying to get the approval of their wife, and they immediately go, oh no, she wants space from me. It's like, no, dude, she just needs some fucking breathing room. Just leave her alone. Stop trying to chase after her all the time. Just leave her the fuck alone, dude. Just give her some space. Create some space away from the kids and stuff. Say, hey, yeah, you're right. You look overwhelmed. Why don't we get these kids out of here and you go take a walk, or you spend some time on your own and go read a book or whatever. Maybe do some meditation. What would you like to? Maybe take a bath or something. How about I draw you the bath and then I'll get these kids out of the way for you for a while. And so if you know what's going on, if you've created the proper structure in your relationship, this situation shouldn't come up. Or it should be greatly minimized. If you have the proper structure in your home, she's not going to get overwhelmed by all the kids and everything else, because everybody has the discipline is already set up properly and everything is peaceful and calm. Again, if you were commanding your family in a benevolent way, and you have respect of your wife, and you can actually step up and create structure and emotional safe space, then you're not going to run into a lot of these problems. You're going to have this garden. Your wife's crazy is going to settle down because you're settled down and you've created a safe and happy and harmonious home. If you're dating a woman, she says, I need space. This means you're smothering her. It means she wants to see if you actually can be without her, or if you're hinging your entire approval mechanisms on her, if you're putting her on a pedestal. And so what will happen is that she'll do this to test you to see if you actually can handle it. And so whenever a guy is dating, I always tell him, like, you can like her, but you don't need her. And don't be texting her. Most of the guys, when they're dating a woman, he's all up in her business all the time, trying to make sure that she likes him and trying to get sex from her all the time. He's just greedy and needy. And so she needs space because she doesn't want to feel like this, and she wants to see if she's actually going to miss him when she's gone. So a woman will say, I need space, because one, she wants to test if he'll actually become an unhinged maniac and try to pull on her all the time with his neediness and need for approval. And two, she wants to see if she actually misses him. And so one odd thing that I found dealing with tons and tons of men in divorce situations and even being cheated on is a wife will come back. She might be separated for 2-3 months. She'll come back and have sex with her husband. And the husband will be like, oh, we're back, baby. This is working well. And the only reason she came back was to have sex with him to see if she still had feelings with him. That's crazy. Like, guys don't think that way. It's like, no, she was just testing the waters to see if she still was into him. And he's like, then she went cold and silent on me. Yeah, she tested the waters and found out that they were cold. And that was a problem, because that led you on. You thought it was going to be better, and it wasn't. And so whenever your woman needs space, create the space for her. Don't try to pull her back and try to fix things. Just give her the space that she needs. Leave her the fuck alone. Get the kids out of the way. Get the stuff out of the way. Help her have the space so that she can recharge and then don't chase after her. Are you better now? Can you come back to the family now? Are you good? It's like a guy, like I know this one guy, his wife will go to the store, and then she'll go to the store, and then maybe she'll go shopping or whatever. And he's constantly texting her. Like, when you coming back, baby? When you coming back? And she's like, I need some fucking space. And you're texting me this whole time, wondering when I come back because you're overwhelmed with the kids. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Or like this other guy I know who's sitting there texting his wife the whole time when she's out with her friends, or I'm out with him, and he's still constantly texting his wife the whole time, because it's like, yeah, she's got some space, but not really, because you're all up in her business asking her what she's doing or where she's going, because you're so insecure that she's going to leave you. And the thing is that you don't really value yourself that much if you think that some random dude's just going to come up and steal your wife. That's insane. And so this kind of guy is never going to have a solid, rock-solid soulmate relationship, because he's completely in this place of the approval space of his woman. And so he never gives her the space that she needs, which means she never gets a chance to miss him, which means she never gets to think about him, which means there's no mystery in a relationship, which means that she can't chase him, which is the natural order of things. She doesn't have an opportunity to pursue the relationship because he's pursuing her all the fucking time, even though they're married, and he wonders why she never wants to have sex with him. I don't want a relationship right now. When a woman says she doesn't want a relationship right now, she just means she's not attracted to you. That's it. It has nothing to do with timing. It just means she's not into you, and she probably never was into you, and you're wanting to have a relationship with her. And she's like, no, I just got over a breakup. I just don't want a relationship right now. I guarantee you, I've never seen a woman actually do that. The right guy comes along, she drops fucking heaven and earth to be with this guy. Again, if she finds this guy that is like the kind of guy she wants, it doesn't matter what's happening in her life, she will make room for him. Like, well, I thought she didn't want a relationship right now. Now you're with this other guy. Yeah, she wasn't attracted to you, bro. And so this is how it works. She's just telling you this to save face, to make it sound like to let you down easy, to say that maybe you have a chance later on, but you don't have a chance now because I don't want a relationship right now. The biggest desire of every woman I've ever met is to have a great love in her life, a great lover and a great love. In fact, if that is good enough and that stays strong, everything else will shake out for her. And so you guys who want to have that soulmate in your life, you're putting it as a top priority in your life, you're putting yourself in the female position in the relationship. You should be going after purpose and awesome things. How can you create impact in the world? How can you do things you're proud of? How can you go conquer your goals and push past your fears? That's where your confidence is built, not in the pursuit of relationship. Men are not the pursuers of relationship. Men present themselves as a seducer. Hey, here's the package that I present. Do you like that? Do you want to learn more? And she's like, okay, well, I'll go on a date with you. And then she goes on a date with you. She's like, yes, I want more of that. And then she pursues relationship. And guys try to turn this around the other way. And they're like, how can I be nice to her? How can I engender myself? How can I prove myself to her? How can I impress her more? How can I do all these things to get her and to convince her to be with me? You're doing the woman's game. This is why it doesn't work for you. Top guys who have options with women do not do this. They go pursue the world. They go crush it in the world. They go crush it in business, crush it in sports. And they have a good time with their guy friends. They have a great fucking time and build all kinds of wealth and do cool things. And then the women do their best to be and capture those guys. And they will do anything to try to convince that guy to marry them and to create and have that great love. They want the best guy they can get. And so if you want to have a lot of options with women, you have to become the best guy you can be. If she says, you deserve someone better, means I don't really like you. In fact, I know that you like me, and I'm telling you that I'm not treating you very well, and you need somebody who treats you better than I do. So she'll say, you deserve someone better. You deserve a beautiful woman to love you and all this stuff, which is true. But what she's saying is that I'm not treating you very well. I'm not giving you the kind of attention you want, and I'll never be the girl who's into you that much. And so you really should go after somebody else. This is really what she's saying. And so if you ever hear this statement from a woman, just completely do a 180 and say, thank you for telling me that. I'll stop trying to pursue this here. Thank you. I just think of you as a friend. This means that she never found you that sexually attractive, and you should not pursue this anyway. In other words, you've been pursuing this woman and probably trying to get her to like you for a long time and doing all these behaviors that are needy and approval seeking, and she's been seeing this for a long time, and then you finally pushed it over the edge saying, hey, I really like you, and then she has to say, look, you didn't get the picture before, I only see you as a friend. And so guys they get so caught up in how they feel about the woman, they don't even really look at how that woman's actually feeling towards him. They don't look at her actions. They don't look at what she does. And so women who like you, again, they're the pursuers of a relationship. If she likes you, she's going to make it obvious. She's going to pursue the fuck out of you. And you'll notice that every woman that you've ever dated, they pursued you. You didn't chase them to the altar. It was the other way around. You did something, she decided that she liked you, and then she made it happen. When you called her, she always answered the phone. When you texted, she always texted back. When you asked her out, she was always available. When you asked her to stay over at your house, she stayed over at your house. And then this kept on happening, and you're like, oh, well, that worked out. Like, yeah, the problem is most guys don't have enough road with a lot of women. They don't have enough experience with a lot of women, so they don't actually see these patterns. They get with one or two women or maybe 5 or 6 women that they date in their entire life. They don't have enough data points to see that this is how it goes. And those women really just pursued him, and he just dated the women that pursued him. He never really had choice in the women that he dated. He didn't have to say, okay, here's 15 women that are really showing interest in me. Which is the one that I want to hang out with today? Or who do I want to hang out with next weekend? And then if another woman just didn't match him well, he let her go and then went out and found other women to date. He doesn't ever do that because he only ever has one woman ever liking him at a time, or nobody. And so he's not very picky. So he's like, well, this is all I got, so I guess this is all I have to choose from. Most guys go into this place, so they don't even have the opportunity to be picky with the women that they date. And so from that place, he ends up getting what he gets. And then he says the worst thing ever to himself, which is, I think I can make this work. And he throws all of his self-respect out the window, trying to make it work with somebody that he really shouldn't be trying to make it work with. And so women aren't that complicated. Men just don't want to see the signs of it. They don't want to look at her actions versus her words. You just look at how she is. It'll tell you everything you need to know. In fact, if you want to be an absolute soul seducer, you want to learn how to do all of this in your relationship. If you want to learn how women work, you want to learn how to never get divorced, how to never get cheated on, how to actually have a woman who's not crazy, how to actually create this garden and this awesome relationship where you create soulmates with a woman who is actually can match you well? Do you want to turn your relationship into a situation where your wife is actually accountable when you call her out on something, where it doesn't turn into this fight, where she doesn't try to manipulate you, where she doesn't try to create all this drama, and she actually settles down and the crazy calms? Just realize that the way that she's acting is a reflection of how you're presenting yourself. Now, with that being said, there are some women that are just fucking crazy and you shouldn't date them. It doesn't matter what kind of guy you are, they're still going to be crazy. You should not date those women. And so if you still are dating those kind of women, again, you're creating that situation. The women that you date are a reflection of your internal game. Who you are inside is a reflection of the woman out there. So if you're dating crazy women, that means you're completely messed up on the inside. If you're dating awesome, calm, cool, collected women who fall into your frame, who want to be where you're going, who want to do and pursue what you pursue and appreciate you, devoted to you, and are always turned on by you, you have to become the guy who can do that. It is a simply skill set and mindset that you have to don for yourself. And we teach you how to do all of that in the Soul Seducer program. If you want to learn more about that, check the link in the description below. And in 90 days, you will be a completely different man in the game of women. And it works fucking well, and I'm super proud of it. We have thousands and thousands of clients. We have hundreds of testimonials and case studies and shit. At this point, it's just a matter of you deciding if you want to become that kind of guy or not. Anyways, I love you. I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to hit the like button, hit subscribe if you want to see more. And again, I'll see you in the next video.